Welcome back to Foundation Homestead. We're heading east about 45 minutes from our place to meet a landowner that's willing to show his barn to us and share the family history, and we're going to take you along.
Stewardship is everything.
My dad had a farm over there, but we also helped here when they needed help. But my dad had my grandfather had three boys, and they're the ones with my grandfather that put this up. In the late 30s, probably around 1938 till about 1940, 41 or 42 is when this barn was built. They did it all. And there was a milk shed right there, and this is a milk barn. They made it for a milk barn and milk dairy cattle.
Well, I'd like to begin by thanking Alan for being here and sharing your barn with us and a little of your experience. But right now we're about 30 miles the way the crow flies from where we live. And this is a barn that I've driven by many, many times and never knew who owned it or what the future of it was. I would like to ask Alan if you just share with us maybe when it was built and how it was built and some of the things that we've already talked about off camera. So
yeah, well, it was built in the late 30s. I don't know exactly what date they started, but it was in the late 30s. I would say probably around 1938. And it was finished in 1945 is when they finished it. And it was built specifically for a dairy farm, for a dairy barn, because they milk cows in there and they put feed in there and hay in the hay mound, and I can show you where the hay mound and stuff is at.
Yeah, we'd like to see that.
Where the barn and the stanchions are at. So.
And the bottom of the barn is stone or block or
stone? Yeah, stone blocks.
So I assume that had to be brought in from someplace.
That had to be brought in, and yeah, those are stone blocks. They did lay concrete on the inside, of course, where the milk cows and things were in. So we can go in.
So was the dairy aspect of the farm, was this kind of their primary income, or?
No, they're farmers.
They farmed.
Yeah, all this ground that you can see belonged in the farm.
Okay.
We raised corn and milo and soybeans and sometimes sorghums for the cattle.
Okay.
And we have a granary inside this barn where we mixed the sorghum with hay, and then we fed the cattle here when they come in to milk.
Okay.
So I can show you inside if you want to go inside. Yeah,
let's go inside and take a look.
It's pretty dirty now, but this, I don't know if you want to even show this, but
can you see this, Abby?
But this is where the grain bin for the dairy cattle. We filled it up on top and put grain in here for the cattle.
So this all came out by hand?
This all came out by hand. Yeah, this is the grain bin. And these, of course, are the stanchions for the milk cows. I don't know if you can see them. All of these are stanchions, called stanchions for the milk cows. And in the later years, in the early 50s, he was one of the first ones to put in a power milking machine.
Oh, vacuum system.
Yeah, vacuum system. one of the first ones to have that, and they milled 23 cattle.
Oh, so
day and night. So
they had to run them in, empty it out?
They run them in and then empty them out and run them in. They all knew when to come in and where to go.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So.
And it's got the old ball and tube. Was that original, or that was probably put in?
What's that?
The electrical part of it.
Oh yes, that was later. Yeah.
Because when it was being built, it probably didn't have.
No.
Maybe didn't even have electricity to the farm.
It was later in the early 50s, I would say, is when this electricity come in here.
Okay. Just off the top of your head, you know what the overall dimensions of it are? It looks like it's pretty close to square.
No, I have no idea. I think it's wider than it is. I mean, it's longer than it is wider, I think.
So maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I can't answer that. That door's where they come in and went out. And
okay. They didn't just pass through, huh?
Well, you know, when they got done milking, then they went out that door and some more came in.
Okay.
So it was a calf pen for the baby calves. Of course, you know, you have dairy cattle, you take the calves off of them right away and have bucket calves, they call them. And that's where we kept the bucket calves.
Okay. Then they got a workbench over here.
Had a little small workbench.
Serve as a shop too.
For the shop, yeah. Small workbench. Right here is a trap door that they threw the hay down. See, there's a trough that runs along the bottom. They threw the hay down and they mixed it with the grain and run the hay and the grain along that trough where the cattle are at.
Okay. Everything's done by hand.
Everything was done by hand. And
so when we'll go upstairs, I guess that's all right, but that was completely full of hay.
That was full of hay.
In the fall?
In the early days, it was just straight piles of hay.
Oh.
And that big barn door, I don't know if you're familiar, but that big barn door would swing down, and then they had a big basket. They'd bring the hay in and put it in that basket and run it up with a team of horses, and then run it across and then dump that hay up here.
Okay, so that was all loose hay to start with.
That was loose hay to start with.
That's a lot of work putting it in and a lot of work getting it out.
And then the later years, we got baled hay, square bales.
Okay, small square bales.
Small square bales. That was a lot easier to work with.
And they put them in the same way, I assume.
Put them in the same way. They put them in. Well, they didn't actually put them in that big door.
Oh.
There's a side door that they run an elevator. At that time, we had an elevator that would run the bales of hay up that elevator and dump them in the floor, and then you'd take them from there and stack them up in the hay mound.
Okay.
By hand.
Yeah, by hand.
Yeah.
And then one by one they would come down through this
and
this
then
trap
when
door.
we feed the cattle or calves come through that trap door. But we can go upstairs and
let's
look at that.
Take a look at it. So this whole thing has a concrete floor in it then?
Yes. It was all poured when they built it by hand. I mean, they had a rotor, mixing machine for concrete, but they all poured it by hand, put it out. So, but this is all original. At one time we had white owls living up there, but lately the buzzards have taken over.
Oh.
So we might scare out one of those. This is what they call the Haymount. Looking to see if my white owls were here. No, They're all gone.
That's pretty rare around this part of the country.
Yes, it is. That door folded down,
Yeah.
and then it had
And
a rope.
they used a trolley to drop that door too, I assume.
Yeah,
'Cause
and
that's
then they used the rope to run across that trolley with the hay in that bucket and
okay.
dump it in here.
Okay. So then the pull rope, I see there's pulleys back here.
Yes.
So it came back there through that pulley, and then where did it go from there? Just straight down?
Yeah, they dropped it down, yeah.
And then the horses were on this side, or
Yeah.
were they on the same side as the
The
load?
horses were on that side to load,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, this is part of the reason that I wanted to get a hold of you and to look at the barn, because this has a rounded roof style, and that's kind of unique in this part of the country by itself.
Yes.
Plus, there's a lot of work in that.
Trusses and, yeah.
Yeah, and these were obviously all built by hand.
Oh, yes.
That radius had to be cut by hand, and then these roofing boards, well, they had to bend these, or is that doubled? Okay, these are two 1-bys put back to back, and they would have done that because it's easier to bend a 1-by than a dimensional board that's 2 inches thick.
Yeah.
So they got a double layer there so that they can bend that radius, and then they put the roofing boards on it and then the steel on top of that. So that's, you probably don't know, did they come up with the design themselves, or did they?
I have no idea. I can't answer that.
There's a company that comes out of, I'd be curious as to what brand of trolley that is.
I don't know.
Most of them in this part of the country were made by Louden, that comes out of Iowa. And Louden, if you bought their trolley system, they would actually help you with the design of your barn. So some people did that. I don't know if that's the case in your family.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the case or not. I just know that. And the trusses, look how the trusses are built.
Yes.
In different pieces at an angle so that you could get the curvature. I thought that was unique.
Yeah, it is unique. Very unique.
Yeah.
And so we got 2x4 purlins here, but this, I guess that is a 2x4 as well, but they've got another 2x4 laying flat, so they screwed them together like this to stiffen up that board. I thought maybe that was a beam, but, and then they've got a knee wall, which is about 36 inches tall. And a lot of times that caused, of course, the reason they put that there is to increase the capacity of the hay mow.
Sure.
But a lot of the old barns, since the floor joists are what ties that wall in, everything from here up to here is unsupported. Mm-hmm. And gravity never gives up. So that roof saw was pushing down and trying to push that out. And so this is roughly 80 years old. That's a long time to stand in one place. Yeah.
But I'll be glad to get it kind of put back together again.
Yeah, that'd be great. And the cupola, what purpose does that serve?
Air.
Okay.
You see the vent?
Yes.
That's to get air, let air in and out of the hay mound.
Okay.
Because if you put hay in, if it's too wet, it will implode and burn up. So they always put that in them to cool, keep the hay cool.
Okay.
Yeah. That serves a purpose.
Yeah, it's not just for decoration, is it?
A lot of people think it's just decoration.
Yeah.
No, it's a purpose for ventilation.
Yeah, most new barns that they build, it's just for decoration, but it served a very vital purpose.
Yeah.
Back in the day when this was built.
Yeah. And about, well, I see there's a hole right there, but about right in there is where that the trap door is to throw hay down to the cattle.
Okay.
Like I say, in the early days, they used, just fork and loose hay, and in the later years,
Right. So the
baled
place
hay.
over there where the wall has sheeting on the inside, does that serve any purpose?
No.
Or what was the reason
No.
for that?
No, it does not.
Okay.
In fact, that might just be laying there, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It might be just laying up against there. Watch your step there. I don't think it does serve any. Yeah, there's a hole there. But, I mean, unless it goes down to something down below.
And when we were down there, did you say they filled the granary from up here?
Yes, there's a hole over there where they run grain, and
Okay.
it went down that hole into the granary.
Okay.
I think that's where it is, or maybe it's over a little bit further. I don't know, it might be over here further, but yeah, they filled that granary up there.
And did they just have a auger or elevator or something
Yeah.
that they would bring it up there
Yeah,
with?
Yeah,
It looks like these serve a double purpose for a ladder and also stiffening up the wall.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I can get my tape to stand up there that far, but.
Oh, maybe.
Well, that's to the track, so can't read it. It's just about 10 feet from the bottom of the door to the top. So that's a lot of weight when you go to open that up.
Yes. Yeah. But they had pulleys and ropes, so.
Yeah. So I assume at some point they transitioned from horses to tractors, and then
Tractors.
the tractor would serve the purpose of
Yes, like that one out there.
lifting the hay.
That's it.
I guess I didn't even see one sitting
Yeah.
out there.
That's one of the tractors,
Okay,
1946.
all right. Well, we might look at that when we
Yeah.
go back out.
Yeah. Yeah, we got tractors in about 43 to 46.
So I would imagine that you did a little sweating in this barn too, loading hay and,
Loading hay and milking cows. I used to help. And of course, all this ground was flood irrigation.
okay,
And so we used flood irrigation for the gated pipes later on. But early we had siphon pipes with a ditch
okay.
to irrigate with. And I know I helped them irrigate in the early days.
What kind of livestock did they have for dairy cattle?
Oh, Holstein.
Holstein, all Holstein?
All Holstein. They started out with some out of Wisconsin, baby calves, and then built the herd up from there. All purebred Holstein calves,
Okay.
milk cows.
And where did they market their milk and cream at?
We have a creamery in Arapahoe,
Okay,
and we did all the separating out of here, and then hauled it into the eggs and cream into the creamery, and then they would ship to Holdridge on the train and take it back east somewhere.
okay.
That's how we got the grocery money. Every Saturday night we'd take the cream and the eggs in and sell them and get groceries.
It might come back to that someday, I
Yes.
don't know.
Could, yeah. And old trucks that they run to Wisconsin. I think we still have one over at the farm. It's a maybe 53.
Oh,
Truck.
okay.
Yeah.
You guys would go get them, or
Yep.
someone would bring them down?
We'd go get them with that truck and had stock box on it and put about 15, 20 calves in and bring them home and start.
Oh, you bought them as calves?
Yeah,
then?
we bought them as baby calves.
Okay.
And then raised them up from there into our own stock.
So did they maintain a bull here then also? Or?
Yes, yes.
I assume that was a Holstein as well.
It wasn't.
It was not?
It was a Black Angus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
dairy bulls can get pretty mean. A lot of people didn't want them around.
No, we use Black Angus. Of course, we get white-faced calves, and if they were, you know, the heifers, we kept them. If they were the bulls, then we fed them out, fat cattle, and sold them.
I'm not sure what else it would be.
I know what else it is.
Do you? What
Yes.
is that then?
That's for the flood irrigation. They take canvas dams and put them on there and roll them up, and then those posts would go down on each side of the ditch
Okay.
and hold your water so you could set tubes.
Okay.
So that's an old dam for
That would raise the water level in the
Yes.
lateral one.
yeah, to make it
Oh, okay.
siphon tubes. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, there's another one. Still got a little bit of the canvas on it.
Yeah, yeah, I don't doubt it. And there's probably some tubes in there too, I would imagine.
So what's your fondest memory of this barn?
Just milking cows. That's the only memory I have.
You
It was
enjoyed
work.
You enjoyed it or no?
No, not really. My dad was a firm believer in 8-hour days.
Is that right?
Yeah, 8 before dinner and 8 after.
Yep.
And that's what we did.
Yep.
Milk cows 5 and 5. 5 in the evening and 5 at night. Every day of the week. That's
Yeah,
just
if you
the way
got
it
dairy
was.
cattle, there's no getting away.
No, that's just the way it was.
My grandfather had a dairy farm. That's kind of where I've taken an interest in this. And he said once that having dairy cattle is like being married twice.
Sure.
You got two things that you've always got to tend to.
Yep. No, my association is just work. I mean, for a kid growing up, it just, you know, I didn't get to go to town and run around with kids all the time like they used to do, the town kids.
Yeah.
So I was working.
Yep.
I started on that tractor when I was 8 years old,
Is that right?
farming and cultivating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No sitting around.
No. So, not really fond memories. Memories of doing it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then when the older brothers got old enough, they left too. My dad and then the 2 younger brothers left. One of them went to Ketchikan and one of them went to Omaha. So it just left my grandfather and my dad
Oh,
to
okay.
help work this farm and
Yeah.
our farm.
Okay.
So,
So then any of your, besides yourself, stay around here or
no.
families all spread out?
Yeah. They're gonna my son will end up with this place. And then he'll give it to his family. And so far he's only got one daughter, so
So he's got an interest in
Yeah.
keeping it up too
Yeah.
then. Well, that's good.
yeah, that's why we need to get it taken care of.
Yeah.
As soon as it gets cooled down a little bit, we've had a hard time trying to get everybody together
Yeah, I'll bet.
to work on it. The height, of course, and have to rent a machine.
Yeah. Yep.
But I do want to get steel siding put on and plastic windows in it and get it enclosed. And I'm sure I'll have to do some more work to the roof. I see spots there that need to be taken care of.
Well, you get it closed up and the owls will have to find a new home.
They will. I hope they do. I showed dairy cattle in 4-H, but
So we talked about belly milkers. I'm familiar with it because that's what my grandfather used as well. So you had this large belt, it's probably 3 inches wide, that you'd throw over the cow, and you would hook a long metal rod would hook in a belt loop, I guess, on the other side. And then that belly milker would hang underneath, right underneath the cow. And then the inflations were right there by your udder. So that would hang underneath the cow, and then each of these petcocks is where the vacuum would be hooked onto, and the hose would go down to the belly milker. And it's set up here so that this one services this cow and this cow as well. So there's one in between each two all the way to the end.
ours were all bucket milkers.
Oh, they were bucket milkers. Okay.
Had a 5-gallon, 3-gallon pail,
Okay.
and it sat on top of that 3-gallon pail, and then the hose ran to it. We didn't have anything on the cow,
Oh, okay.
and we
Okay.
just set the bucket down there and then bring the teats up to there,
Uh-huh.
and the suction from that would suck them up and start milking.
Okay.
But it put it right into the can.
Okay.
That's the way this system
Okay.
and our system over there was the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's similar to what we use. We milk a couple of cows, and it sets on a bucket, and it's got the milking claw that goes underneath the cow. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way this setup was.
when we get back to the house, there's a belly milker in the front yard that Mom put in the garden. So you want to see what it looks like.
It's even got the chains up there for the tail,
Oh yeah.
so you don't get beat to death with the tail.
Yeah, they could be a nuisance for
Yeah.
sure. So I don't see any trolley system down here, so all
No.
the gutter was all cleaned out by hand too.
By hand, yeah.
Pitchfork and a wheelbarrow.
Went out that way.
Yep.
They flushed it with water.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
They had a water system in here.
Okay.
Or out to there. They just flush it down. That's about all I can tell you in here anyway.
I'd like to see that tractor that you mentioned.
Okay.
Too, though. So did they have did they have a milk room in here? Or
No.
as you said, that's what was
Right
over
there where that windmill is, there was a building about the size of that cabin right there.
Okay.
And that was the milk house.
The buckets went from here over to there.
That milk house. That's where they hand separated the cream.
Okay.
And then they also had water running into there so they could wash everything out. That was the washroom.
So is that the original house?
That's the original house.
So they raised 3 boys
3 boys.
in there?
Yeah. Yes.
They must have got along.
Yeah. Till they got ready to graduate. Garage on that half and a corn crib on this half, because all the corn that we we put them in corn cribs or metal corn cribs, and then
Okay.
they bring in shellers and made it into whole corn.
Okay.
But that's a
So did you use that feed, or did you sell it?
no, we sold it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the old International H. Still, that bucket is used to clean out the stall or the feedlots.
Okay.
Where we fed cattle outside, fat cattle, and next to the feed, and we'd go in with that and dump it into a manure spreader and take it out to the field and spread it.
Okay. So, is this the first tractor that you had then after the horses? So,
yes.
So this is the tractor that you use to load the barn with hay and everything. So.
Yeah. Later on, we got a John Deere 50 or 60 in place of this one, a row crop, so that we could farm with it. But this is the first tractor that they had.
And was the loader added on later, or was it?
It was built by a friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's passed now, but they built the loader to go on.
Well, there's a lot of craftsmanship there too then.
Yes, there is. A lot of craftsmanship.
Yeah. Huh.
And it still runs and still works. It's all in working condition.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
International H.
Yes.
Well, I just want to thank you for coming out and spending time with us, and we just really like preserving some memories because, like I said, these are all coming down in our part of the world.
A lot of them are around here too.
Yeah.
If we can preserve them, it'll be good.
Well, there's a lot of old craftsmanship that's going to go away if people don't learn how to do some of these things.
Sure.
Well, thank you again, Alan.
You
Appreciate
bet.
it.
And thanks for coming out.